There are so many benefits, both physical and mental, to being outside in nature. It's important to the 300 Committee Land Trust in Falmouth that everyone can have access to those benefits regardless of their physical ability. 4 of their conservation areas now have handicapped accessible trails and/or picnic areas. We set out to make this video to show people a little of those trails. Then the project kind of grew to include other outdoor areas that are accessible: the beaches, the bike path, a path at Highfield Hall, and even the dog park. So come on along with us as we tour these places. We hope you'll feel inspired to visit them yourselves, or maybe take someone you know who has mobility issues. The 300 Committee website has an alphabetical list of all the conservation lands. We're going to first visit 2 ponds, so we'll go to T, and here you see the little wheelchair icons indicating that those are accessible parcels. Click on 2 ponds. There's a description of the area. You can click on the Google map to see where it is in town. Then you can download a trail map. And that shows the handicapped accessible trails with the wheelchair icon. 2 Ponds Conservation Area is located on Gifford Street. You use the northernmost entrance to Atria Woodbriar Place. Pull in, bear left, and use one of the designated parking spots. You can head down the hill on the paved path toward the kiosk. And then into the woods. Here the trail forks. We're going to first go to the right to see the boardwalk, which overlooks Jones Pond. Then we'll come back and go to the left to the picnic area, which overlooks Saul's Pond. Those are the 2 ponds, of course, that give the area its name.
Well, I became aware of this parcel several years ago when I learned of an agreement between Atria and 300 Committee Land Trust. It's a beautiful parcel with 2 classic kettle hole ponds that are remnants from the last ice age. The other outstanding thing about it is the white cedar swamp, which is really unique. I've always enjoyed hiking trails, and since I've had MS the last 30 years or so, I can't do that, and so I'm in a wheelchair and still enjoy getting out. And so it was important to me that we put in a walkway and make it accessible so that selfishly people like me can access it, as well as other people in town and people living at Atria.
I'm sitting here at an accessible picnic table in the middle of T-Ticket Park. T-Ticket Park is a wonderful green oasis along busy T-Ticket Highway, and it was formerly a driving range and a mini golf course. The owners were fortunate enough to be able to sell it to the 300 Committee in partnership with the town. Once you're down here, it's a whole different world from being up on the busy highway. There's a pollinator meadow and a wetland habitat. There's some wonderful new shade trees which were planted now about 8 to 10 years ago. If you're lucky, you might see some kestrels or a killdeer. It's a very nice stroll through the paths that are all graded to be handicapped accessible. And then it leads down to a boardwalk where you can overlook the wetland. It is a gravel surface, so it's probably best to have some slightly bigger wheeled, either wheelchair or walker. When you tire out, there's plenty of benches and there's these picnic tables.
We're going to access the Coonamessett River Heritage Trail from 2 different places on John Parker Road. First, we'll start at the gateway to the Greenway. This is what it looks like from the road.
I'm on the magnificent overlooking Coonamessett River and the Coonamessett River Heritage Trail. This is a highly accessible overlook, very smooth pavement. You can come right from the parking lot onto it and get a whole panorama of this fantastic project, taking a river that was very compromised by having cranberry bogs adjacent to it and the river flowing through the bogs, and now it's being restored in a way that makes it very friendly habitat for herring and other fish that can get up the river and breed, and apparently they're already seeing increases in herring along the river. The trail is flat and accessible. There's a serpentine path down to the lower level. So another feature of this trail is there's lots of signboards that explain not only the natural history but the social history of how this area has been used over time.
Next, we'll go to Dexter's Mill Crossing. The entrance for that is right across from Clark Street.
We're now on a path that comes in from a second parking lot off John Parker Road, and this path leads right down to a walkway and bridge over the river itself, so you can see anything that might be in the river. And there's always a lot of bird activity in this area. You probably can hear them in the background. In fact, as we were setting up, we just saw an oriole chasing some crows. So this is a very exciting place to be, and it's a very short trip to get to the boardwalk and the bridge so that you can get a nice view of the river, the running river. So there's the two options to get to Coonamessett River, and you can walk as far as you want.
Bartolome Conservation Area is on Sandwich Road, almost across the street from Riverbend, which many of you may recognize because of the historic silo left over from when the area was farmed. There's no accessible trail at Riverbend, but there is a picnic table you can pull a wheelchair up to. At Bartolome, there's an accessible trail that's a couple of 100 yards long and has a really nice view over Pond 14, and an accessible picnic table.
We're on the Shining Sea bike path, which is fully accessible on its whole 10.7 mile length. This spot to start at is a really good spot because there's parking off Elm Road where the bike path crosses Elm Road, and you can walk along and have a wonderful view of Oyster Pond. And then if you keep going, you can get all the way to Surf Drive and see the beach and off over to the vineyard. It's just a wonderful place to be outside on a beautiful day. If you care to just see the beach part, there's also some diagonal parking off of Surf Drive right near the bike path. I'm on the accessible path in Highfield Hall and Gardens that goes down through the beech grove and by some musical instruments that you can reach from a wheelchair or walker. The path meanders down, and it is a little bit of a rough surface, so if you're going to be pushing someone in a wheelchair, make sure you have someone vibrant to be able to be the pusher. But this is a lovely area. Highfield secured funding for this path from the community preservation funds of the town of Falmouth, which provides funding for recreation and historic preservation. It ends up at a garden right behind Highfield Hall, which is very pretty in itself. Then you can turn back and there's a bridge across back into the parking lot. So that part is very, very accessible. Highfield Hall itself is handicapped accessible, and it's a wonderful place to visit with recurring different exhibits of art and music.
Hi, I'm Barb Schneider. I'm chair of the Falmouth Beach Committee, and I'm here today to talk a little bit about accessibility and inclusivity at our Falmouth beaches, of which we have 10. I want to tell you a little bit today about our new picnic table that we have here. We also have this at one other beach, but I want to talk a little bit about why we did this. This is in a perfect situation to be able to roll up to the window, then roll over here with your food, easily pull your wheelchair right up, and we're hoping that that's a big help to people. I want to also tell you that there will be and is an inclusive bathroom area in here. So we do not have a porta potty that is accessible out in the parking lot because we have a bathhouse. That is also the case at Old Silver Beach, and it's also the case at Goodwill Park. All the other beaches will have porta potties that are accessible with a wheelchair. So that's new this year, that we are making sure every beach has accessibility at toilets. Two of the beaches will have this kind of a picnic table, and I'll talk to you in a little bit about the mats that we have. So a little more information for those of you that need some assistance getting onto the beach and into the water. We will have these type of Moby mats available at every beach except Woodneck and Goodwill, where we cannot find a flat enough area to put them. These mats should be very helpful to those people who need a little bit of support walking onto the beach, whether it's with a cane or a walker or a wheelchair or a stroller, whatever it is. These mats will come in handy. When you want to go beyond the mat, and those of you who need wheelchair assistance, we have these wheelchairs available by simply calling the bathhouse 24 hours ahead and requesting one at any of the beaches. We will have it there for you the next day when you decide to come to the beach. These can go into the water, and they are as I said, available with 24-hour notice. We can possibly get it there with less notice, but we can't promise that depending on the day. I hope that this helps a lot of you get into the water more and helps a lot of you get onto the sand more this summer. We hope to see you all at the beach. I'm here at the Falmouth Dog Park. One of the reasons that we created this dog park was specifically to help those who are physically challenged be able to keep dogs and have a place to bring them for exercise and socialization. We have handicap parking spaces. We have walkways that are paved so that you can get out of your car, get into the park, and get to a bench very easily. We have a paved surface that people can actually walk all the way around the perimeter inside the park. And we even have a picnic table outside that is accessible for a wheelchair access. We have about 35,000 visitors, dog visitors to this park every year. We hope that people will take advantage of this park. We certainly have found that build it and they will come is the answer here.